So I thought I'd share a little bit about the ugly, a little bit about the past that most of you don't know. You guys see this persona now, successful, well-spoken, respectful, and well-educated, but it wasn't always like this. If you actually go back 10 years when I was in high school, beginning of college, I was actually known as an asshole, as a dickhead. I used to party a bunch. I used to treat girls the wrong way. I used to sleep around a lot. And I wasn't really what I wanted to become. In that time, I thought it was. I thought it was a cool thing to do. But fast forward now I'm realizing it was the wrong things to do. I don't regret doing that because it made me the person I am today. But in reality, I've changed a lot. And this episode is going to tell you guys how I've changed. And it's possible to change with certain habits and certain things that you need to do. And I'm going to go over that. But going back to it, high school, college, beginning of college, all I really did was go out, was party, was drink. Well, all I cared about was girls, being popular. I'm being honest. I was a superficial person. I cared about what people thought about me. I was doing things to impress people that I really didn't give a fuck about just so I could be in their circle. In college, that happened a lot. And did things that honestly, right now, I wouldn't do. That time frame of my life shaped my life a lot to today. Because when I was in college, I don't know if you've gone to college or where you went to school, but I went to Florida State University. And that's Disneyland for adults, for 18 to 22-year-olds. It was the biggest party school in Florida, one of the biggest party schools in the nation. I was in a fraternity. I was the treasurer of my fraternity, which I basically ran that fraternity. I got all the money. I decided where the money went, the tables. I bought the tables. So I was doing pretty well in college, but everything I did was to impress others so I could get to that position. Then all of a sudden, I graduated in December 2017 from college, and I got a job in Morgan Stanley as a client service associate, which is basically the position under a financial analyst. Got my licenses, my Series 7 and 66. But those first 6 months were a huge punch in the face for me because I went from being this popular guy with all the girls around him, getting everything he wanted because I went to bars, I got the drinks for free, I got in for free. I lived that life. I had a very popular college lifestyle and go from that to basically dirt because I don't come from money, really. My parents did well, they raised me well, and they gave me what I needed, but there wasn't much left to cover my other expenses, right? So when I graduated college, I moved to Tampa by myself. And it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. It isolated me and it put me in a position that I either had to succeed or I was going to move back with my parents in Miami. And I did not want that. So those first 6 months punched me in the face because one, I was irresponsible in college and I got in debt and I graduated with a lot of debt, actually up to my fucking neck in credit card debt. And I was starting a job, working pretty much full time, trying to make ends meet, trying to pay off that debt, trying to study. My life changed. My it's night and day difference. I went from partying, from living the life to pretty much living in a shitty apartment, working all the time, and that apartment was dark as hell. If I'm being honest, I had a very humble beginning out of college, but those 6 months, probably a year, were crucial because there I built the blueprint of what I really wanted to become. There I started realizing, holy shit, the superficial shit of trying to impress others and trying to become somebody that they want me to become doesn't fit my style anymore. Now I actually want to become somebody that my blueprint fits. The image that we all have when we're kids of what we want to be when we're old, that kind of started creeping back up. And it wasn't this whole party lifestyle, getting girls, all that. It was more of building a successful business. It was more of being a leader. And I started diving deep into certain books, certain mentors, certain podcasts, and it definitely helped me out a lot. So for all of those that say people can't change, that's bullshit. And I'm a prime example for that. I'll give you an example. I went to a wedding a year ago where I hadn't seen some friends in over 10 years. People I barely talk to anymore. I had to see them again. And the image they have in their head of me is an asshole. Fed is an asshole. Fed is an asshole. And when they got to talk to me and meet this new person, they were in shock. They were like, wow, what happened to you? So people can change if they want to change, if they desire to change, and they put in the work. And I'm going to give you 3 things I did and 3 tips that I guarantee you will help you get to that next level. Number one, and nobody really talks about this. Everybody's telling you, like I've told you in the past, go exercise, go read. nobody dives deep into what it really takes to make that transformation. Why is it that every time you say you're going to do something, you don't do it, even though your intentions are there? It's because of your mindset. It's because of your subconscious. It's because of your paradigm. But I'll make it even more simple. In order to succeed, in order to change from where you are to where you want to be, the number one thing you have to work on is your belief. And that's what I worked on really, really hard. My belief. I had limiting beliefs. What are limiting beliefs? Limiting beliefs are like me saying, I can't win a game. I can't do that. Those are limiting beliefs. And some of my limiting beliefs were more related to money. And a lot of your limiting beliefs and your subconscious thoughts are instilled by your parents and by your childhood. And for me, it was money. It was getting to that next level, not living in a scarcity mindset, living in an abundance mindset. Because when you're living in an abundance mindset, things come more to you. You attract whatever you put out. So if you're living in an abundance mindset, you attract abundance. And I know if you've never heard of this or have never studied the belief, subconscious mind, all of that, it sounds a little weird, but it's true. Working on your beliefs is everything. Your mindset is everything. It's the number one thing. Forget a book. Forget exercising. Not saying don't do that, but without the proper mindset, you're not going to do anything. There's a saying that goes, if you think you can do something, you can. And if you can't, then you can't. That's just how it goes. Your mindset determines everything. And I started working on my mindset, and 3 key figures for me, honestly, that helped me really start changing my mindset and improving it were, number 1, Tony Robbins. I highly recommend you go on YouTube, completely free, and start looking at Tony Robbins videos. They're going to change your life. Tony Robbins is sought out by Conor McGregor, Clintons, all the top athletes, top businessmen in the world. Tony Robbins is sought out by them. Why? Because he's a master in his mindset. He knows how to put things into a perspective where it teaches you how to improve. So Tony Robbins, I'm huge on. Number 2, the second person I'd highly recommend you follow and look at his videos online on YouTube. They're free. Is Bob Proctor. Rest in peace. He died last year. But that guy was one of the guys I started listening to first. He taught me a lot about incantations, about how to think. Your thoughts determine your words determine your actions, and your daily actions determine your character in your life, right? So it's very important that you control your thoughts. And Bob Proctor talks a lot about that. Your thoughts, your day-to-day thoughts. There's estimate that we think up to 88,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are repetitive. 90% of them are the same each day. So we live in a pattern. And if we don't control our thoughts, and our pattern of thoughts are pretty much our destructive thoughts that we all have, if we don't control that, then it's going to control us, and it's not going to help us succeed in life. So Bob Proctor taught me a lot about that. Tony Robbins was another huge, huge person in my life for that. And there's various other people nowadays. I mean, Joe Dispenza is a huge one. Highly recommend his books and his meditations. Ed Milet, multiple people. Work on your belief. Google, how do I work on my belief? Listen to these people. LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, just Tiger Woods. They all have coaches to help them out with their mindset. To this day, even them being known as the GOATs, they have coaches that help them work on their belief, on their mindset. That's how important it is. So why aren't you doing that? And it's not a one-time thing either, where you read an article or spend 2-3 months studying the subject and then you let it go. You got to continuously practice it, just like working out, just like any other skill. Side note, I'll put it into example. When I started off 5 years ago, I was really heavy in this subject, in belief, in the subconscious mind, in controlling your thoughts, thinking positively, knowing how to attract the proper energy and the proper things. And as you start succeeding and you start winning in life, you start leaving behind some things because you're winning. And that's a big mistake, because once you start leaving those things behind that helped you get to that level, guess what's going to happen? You're going to probably come back down. So to me, belief is number 1, and it's super strong. Work on it. That's the number 1 key to success, having the proper mindset. I had an episode on it last week. The psychology is everything to success. Your belief, your paradigm, how you see things. You live in a victim mindset or a winning mindset, an abundance or a scarce. So not going to touch on that anymore. Belief. Belief is the most important thing to get you to change, to get you to become the person you want to become. If you're working at Burger King right now and you want to become the top banker in the world, then first thing you got to change is your beliefs, your mindset. You got to take off those limiting beliefs and replace them with ones that are going to benefit you, right? So number one key to changing is changing your belief. Number two, I don't even think I have to say this, but who are you hanging out with? Who are you talking to? Your circle. Are they helping you elevate in life, or are they holding you back? Are the conversations getting better? Are we growing, or are you talking about the same shit you always talk about? And you're talking about the past and getting girls and going out on the weekends. What do your friends talk about? And you know what they talk about. You're probably like, fuck, they're talking right now about the party on Saturday or about going out tonight for a drink to catch a game or bullshit. And those people aren't going to help you succeed. That's why when I was in Tampa, I lived there for 3.5, 4 years almost. I was pretty much by myself. I had my roommate, but I rarely had friends. I rarely went out. And most people, the people that I associated with in Tampa were always partying and asking me why I never went out, to the point where they gave up. But you look at me now and you look at them, and I'm glad I didn't go out, to say the least. But your circle, who you're hanging out with. Another big thing in changing your circle is one. But finding a mentor is another big part. And you don't have to pay for it either. Like the first mentor I had, I didn't pay for it. I just provided as much value as possible. I was honestly almost obsessed with him, to the point where I was calling him. I was annoying him, honestly. It's like, what can I do for you to help me out, for you to provide the value that I need so I can get to that next level? And it worked out. Now I've been paying for mentors. I've jumped from mentor to mentor, and some are good, some are bad. You live and you learn. Definitely do your due diligence with mentors. Don't go paying 10, 15 grand for somebody that isn't doing what you're doing or is below you, pretty much, right? That's pretty much what I had to say with that. Like, look at the people you're paying. Are they doing better than you? I said this a couple weeks back. You don't go to the gym to get fit and hire somebody that's fat. Sorry, that's just a reality. You hire somebody that's fit. You hire somebody that you look up to, that you're like, I want to be like that. And same thing goes with business and anything in life. Don't listen to people that aren't doing what you're doing at the level you're doing it, if that makes sense, right? Finding mentors, improving your circle, key to success, key to changing who you are. So what have I gone over? Belief, number one key to changing who you are to where you want to become, or who you want to become. Number two, your circle and mentors. And lastly, your environment. Your environment. This is not talked about enough. Your environment is everything. How is your apartment or your house? Is it set up for you to succeed or not? When you open your fridge, do you see a bunch of Coke, whiskey, and beer, or do you see Gatorade, water, fruit, salads? Little examples like that. Is your TV on all night? Little things like that. Your environment. You got to set up your environment to succeed. So let me give you an example, because this might sound confusing if you've never heard of this. My environment, my office is set up for me to, this is my zone, my thinking zone. And I set up my environment to win and to make sure I don't fall off the train of discipline, right? So one little practice I do, for example, to wake up every morning at 5 a.m. is, I live in an apartment, a two-bedroom apartment, and my office is one and my bedroom is one. I leave my phone in my room. So at 5 a.m., I have to get up and come get my phone and turn off my alarm. Guess where my phone is? Right next to my coffee. So when I turn off my alarm, my coffee's already made. I pour it, and there's no way I'm going back to sleep after I sip my first coffee. Along with that, if you need extra motivation to stay up, if you're telling me, Fede, I could turn off my alarm and go back to bed, a coffee's not going to keep me up, then put a picture of a loved one, of a family member, of your why, of your big goal. And I guarantee you, you will not go back to bed if you're working hard for it, and if that's your real why. So I know that was a lot covered. I just wanted to touch on, you can change. If you're a person right now that's not living the life you want to live, and you want to live a Dave Portnoy, Bill Gates life, you can. And it starts with your belief, your mindset, and you got to work on that. Again, look at Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, Joe Dispenza. There's various scientists and peak performers out there that will teach you this. but you got to practice it. Remember, it's not a one-time thing, two-time thing. You got to do it every single day. I listen to Tony Robbins and Bob Proctor every single day. Every morning, I listen to them. Extreme, maybe, but I'd rather have a good mindset. I'd rather live in peace, happy with myself, than in the current state of the world that's anxiety. And it's only going to get worse with everything that's coming along, the recession, the wars, and who knows what the fuck is going to happen next. It's more important now than ever to work on your belief and what I'm talking about, on changing to become the person you want to become, on personal excellence. That's what you have to work on, and you will be able to change. I did it. I'm a prime example. Most people thought I was going to be a piece of shit and not drug addict, but a drunk and all that. And I'm not. The reality is I'm a successful person. I own multiple businesses and growing every day. Look at this view, Miami, Florida. It's only going to get better. We're only going to go up from here. My next view will be in Venetian Island, I believe. Or we'll see. But you don't get here by having a shitty limiting mindset. You get here by working on your belief and putting in the work. Guys, before I let you guys go, I just want to remind you guys that I don't run ads on this show. I grow this show via word of mouth. I've gotten offers to run ads on this show for my podcast, but I don't. I only grow it via word of mouth. So if you can please share the show. That's the only way we're going to grow it. If you find value in it. If not, don't share it. And that's how we grow, right? Lastly, I wanted to touch on one last thing. April 17th, I'm doing a free real estate masterclass. If you don't know, I own a real estate business. I've done over 200 transactions. I own rentals. I own flips. I have a team. And I'm partnering up with two studs to do this free masterclass. Tejas, number one, has a $450 million real estate fund. Owns hotels, owns restaurants. That's somebody I'd want to learn from. Number two, Ade has $10 million in multifamily under management. I believe last week he closed on a wholesale deal that paid him $75,000 in one deal. The class is free, April 17th at 9 p.m. You'll learn how to get started. You're going to learn a lot if you want to get started into real estate. But remember, it takes the right mindset, and you got to be willing to learn and take that chance and grow. Now, with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I'll catch you guys next week.